Hello. Most residential tenants are long-term tenants who properly look after a landlord's property. The trick is to do the proper research in advance so you don't end up with the tenant from hell. Here are 10 rules to follow to protect you. Number 1, advertising. When you advertise for tenants, always use these 6 words. We do credit and background checks. That way, you will only get pretty much qualified tenants that apply to your advertising. Number 2, credit checks. Every tenant has to go through a proper credit check with TransUnion or Equifax. The cost could be as little as $20. You should also consider joining the Ontario Landlord Association, where for as little as $10, you can do proper credit checks on your tenant. Number 3, call every reference. Be very careful. Call the prior landlord instead of the current landlord. Remember, the current landlord might be untruthful because they may be trying to get rid of this tenant. When you speak to the prior landlord first, you're more likely to get a more honest answer. Number 4, social media. Google the tenant's name to make sure that the information that comes up on social media is the same as what's in their tenant application. If you're concerned about whether the tenant has a pet, check Facebook. If they have a pet, there's likely to be a picture of them with their pet on Facebook. The interview. When you are interviewing tenants, especially face-to-face, there are signs that can tell you whether or not the tenant is being truthful. These include not looking you in the eye, fidgeting when they're talking to you, changing the subject, or dropping names of important people. All of these are signs that the tenant may not be telling you the truth. Number 6, the power of open-ended questions. When you are talking to tenants, whether in person or on the phone, use open-ended questions, such as, tell me about yourself, or why are you leaving your current location? When you do this and you allow the tenant to speak, you will learn much more information than if you ask typical yes/no questions. Number 7, interview the tenants where they live. If you want to get a good idea as to how a tenant treats property, why don't you consider interviewing them where they currently live so you will see that for yourself? If you cannot do that, why not check out the car they drive when they drive in for an interview or to drop off a tenant application? How they treat their own personal belongings will go a long way to tell you how they will treat your property. Also, if you're concerned about animals, it's pretty hard to hide the smell of a dog from either an apartment or a car. Number 8, give the tenant a deal. Don't be so concerned about getting the maximum amount of rent that you can from a tenant. If the tenant feels that they overpaid, they're going to be looking for another place almost as soon as they move in. When you make the right deal with your tenant, they will be loyal and stay longer, and that is more important. Number 9, give the tenant an incentive. I know many property managers who give the tenant a $10 incentive or Tim Hortons gift card for paying the rent on time. And what they find is not only does the tenant pay the rent on time, but they look after your property better. So whether it is a gift card or just a special gift at Christmas, if you take care of your tenants and treat them with respect, they will look after your property a lot better. Number 10, dealing with the tenant from hell. If after everything you still end up with the tenant from hell, it is important to act quickly. Gather all the information, make notes, serve all your notices in a timely manner, and obtain the services of an experienced paralegal to assist you. An experienced paralegal knows all the tricks that professional tenants try to pull in order to drag out the proceedings. When you have proper representation, you can end a very bad situation quickly. By following these tips, hopefully you will have long-term loyal tenants who look after your property that much better. If you have any questions regarding landlord and tenant or buying a multi-unit residential property, please contact me directly at mark@realestatelawyer.ca or toll free at 1-888-876-5529.